It might not be an all-out sprint at the beginning, but I think the field is going to break up very quickly because you have some social riders, some recreational riders in this, as well as the aspiring juniors and the masters races. So I believe this field will split up very quickly. And we'll probably see, who knows, it's hard to tell in races this short, but I think we can look for some of the juniors to take the action, to take the major places in this race. And particularly we're looking at Damaine Douglas, Christian McFarlane, Bradley McFarlane, and there's one more, I'll give you his name in a minute. And for the junior females, we have Sharina, we have Malika Russell, Chantel Russell, and Sharina Gray. Mm-hmm. All of these have podiumed on the junior national championships last year, so we can expect to see one of them do pretty well. It would be very nice to see one of the ladies finish with the junior boys. That would be real nice. I think some of them have the ability to do that, but let's see how this plays out.
You said quite a few of these riders recreational as well. You think they'll be a part of the, what's the word that you use, debris?
A race this short, it's possible. Mm-hmm. It's possible. And some of these are really high-level recreational riders, and some of them are just recreational riders. So as we get better, tighter images, I'll be able to identify some of them. I don't know all of these riders, but I know most of them.
And they would come from all around Jamaica. We haven't received any indication any of these are overseas riders. I doubt it. Most of them, if not all, from Jamaica.
Yeah, I think this is 100% local field, or riders living in Jamaica. These all-comers races are always very fun to watch.
Of course, as far as the elite race is concerned, after this we'll get to see the third stage of that event. They'll be going from Witter Village to Duncan's to back for that third stage. But as far as the overall classic is concerned, it's really written in stone as to who is the overall winner.
Well, I'm not sure our viewers will be aware of this yet, but there have been some developments overnight that we're going to be bringing you up to speed on before the start of the feature race. And it has changed. Things will be very exciting, but there have been some changes overnight which we will apprise you of before that race starts. There are one of the McFarlane boys coming through to make some early moves. This is Christian McFarlane, and he should be joined very quickly by his cousin or Damaine McFarlane. I don't think they'll want to see Christian get away because this little kid has the ability to ride this whole group off his wheel.
Almost like a walk in the park for him?
No, I wouldn't call it a walk in the park, but he's very, very good. He is the nephew of a former multi-time national champion and two-time Caribbean champion, Horace McFarlane. And he's part of I think he's a national coach for the junior program at the moment, and he's really bringing these kids into shape. I've seen these kids develop over the last year, and they've come from being beaten up by just about everybody to beating up just about everybody in the space of about 8 months. So really good work being done with these juniors. Both of these McFarlane boys have actually won elite races, informal elite races. We have races every Thursday over at Helsha, which is a beach community to the southeast of Jamaica. And these boys have both won that race, which is an elite race. So they're very, very high quality riders here. And I think we can expect, Donald, I think we can expect to see this race be non-stop attacks because it's so short, and there's nothing to, there's no saving or no budgeting needed to be done on a race this short, so it should be action the whole way. I hope I'm not wrong on this one. I made a few calls yesterday. I didn't expect to see 15 riders coming to the line yesterday, and I was wrong on that one.
Cruising as well.
A lot of looking around here, riders trying to figure themselves out. Being that there are 4 or 5 classes in here, and I'm going to try and name them all. There's the junior class in this. There's the junior men and junior women. There's masters in this, which is 40 to 50. There are super masters in this, which is 50 plus. And there's the masters. There's the female category and the masters female category. So we have about 7 categories riding here. So it's a lot of fun to watch this. And there's a lot of prizes on the line today. So everybody is in this race is trying to figure out who their direct rivals are, because they're not necessarily racing against the winner. They're racing against their age group or their category group.
So we do expect these jostling of positions throughout the race.
There'll be jostling of positions throughout the race. And here we have, this is some early action, and I think this is a very good move. This is Domain Douglas. I think he's 15 years old now. And this is Christian McFarlane again.
Douglas is in second position, by the way.
Douglas is in second position. And his brother is in the feature race a little later on, and came, I think, 4th or 5th on day 1. Dwayne Douglas. 2 very good riders. Their father owns a bike shop in runs a bike shop in Kingston, so they have bicycles in their blood.
And access to spare parts.
And raw materials and tires. They have it all. And their father is probably one of Jamaica's premier stunt riders on BMX. That's his history. Donald, I'm noticing that from those flags, the finish line is a lot calmer today, so this race is going to be a lot faster, and the headwind is probably a lot less of a factor today than it was yesterday, judging by the stillness of those flags. So awesome race conditions here. The riders will be loving this.
Of course, they wouldn't have as much tailwind as they had yesterday as well, so it wouldn't be as dramatically fast.
You'd be surprised. It might be equally as fast, because they will have a much higher speed on the what would have been the headwind section. So the average won't be that much different, but it will be much more difficult for those chasing behind after the turnaround, because they won't have the assistance of the tailwind to help them close a gap. And to use a pun here, the riders behind, the other junior riders behind who want to win some prizes in this race, better get on their bike and start chasing these 2, because I don't think these 2 will be coming back.
They're leading all comers, but of course they're leading the junior segment as well. And it's good to see young people take up the sport like this. Of course, we had a few youngsters taking part in the main event, the main classic, who probably had little interest in taking part on just this 3rd stage.
That's correct, and we do have some of the riders here could have been in the elite race. A couple of these juniors in particular, I think some of them might have had school or might have had logistical problems in being able to take off all 3 days to race this. So I'm sure next year we'll see that we'll see a bigger field here. But these two up front could have definitely been riders in the elite race over the weekend. They do have the quality. And an interesting note, Donald, yesterday's results had a 14-year-old junior coming 6th overall. That's a fantastic result. 14-year-old junior Kajor Chu finishing 6th in such an elite field. He's a Montego Bay rider, and he's being trained by Wayne Smith. I think I mentioned.
Also in the race.
He's also in the race. Wayne Smith is his coach and mentor. And I mentioned yesterday, I spoke at length about Wayne's credentials, and I remember Wayne joining the sport around the same time I joined, and he's where I took breaks here and there to get married, follow a career, have children. Wayne did all of that and kept riding, where I took longer breaks. So he's a foundation of our sport, especially over in Montego Bay.
Kajor is from Montego Bay as well?
I believe Wayne was from Kingston. I think he lives in Montego Bay now.
And Kajor?
I believe Kajor is from Montego Bay. I'm learning as I go.
Okay.
Kajor, I've met Kajor once or twice, but I hear he's trained he lives in Mobay and trains in Mobay. I'm not sure if he's originally from Mobay.
Well, they've answered your call. And the juniors, now a pack of 4.
They look to be doing business as well. We might not see any more riders come across to this group.
Well, the chasing pack not too far behind, probably just about 7 to 10 seconds behind. Let's see if they'll be able to stretch that lead over the course of the stage.
They definitely have the riders to stretch that lead. Donald definitely got the quality there.
So, chasing pack trying to close, and it seems that they're doing their endeavor best to do so, as the leaders of 4, all juniors, seeking to set the pace in this one. About 13 kilometers to go in the race.
So we're fast approaching the halfway point. And let's see if the field gets back together. I have a feeling that this move might stick, because we've got 4 very good riders out there, and some of these riders appear to be tiring now. So I would expect that this group of 4 will stay out.
Well, it's beginning to stretch now, Kynan.
It is starting to stretch. It's starting to break apart now. We're going to have because riders now are realizing that those 4, if they don't do something about it, are gone for the day. And they may still be gone for the day, but we'll have to see. This looks like 2 riders trying to get across to those 4.
Mm-hmm.
We're having some feed trouble here, so we're not able to tell you exactly who these 2 riders are yet, but we will in a moment.
It's a bit of a steady hill, this one. You can see them; they're pedaling.
It's a fall, what we call a false flat. A small rise up. Road appears to be flat, but it's just a gradual drag.
And you can see the distance where they are coming from along this drag. It probably is going to even out just a little bit now.
I stand corrected. You're right. This could be the Iberostar Hill. So we should be seeing the turnaround in about 2 or 3 kilometers, and then they'll start coming back. You can see some dead legs coming over the summit of that hill. He's just decided to sit up and wait for the rest. And also happening today, Donald, over in Europe, one of the biggest races of the year, and one of my 2 favorite races of the year, the Tour of Flanders, is happening in Belgium this morning. It's happening as we speak, so we have an awesome day of cycling racing. When this is over, we can try and find the replays of Tour of Flanders. That's one of the 5 monuments of the year. We're moving on. There we have Elizabeth Mondon in all white. She's our Jamaican national triathlon champion, female triathlon champion. Very good athlete. Was involved in ultra marathoning at one point, 35-mile backpack treks, ultra marathon, cross country events in over in Europe. So very, very talented and strong young lady.
Well, we're going to take a quick break here, and when we return, we'll have much more action. Welcome back to the Jamaica International Cycling Classic. As we prepare for the main race, we are taking a look at the secondary feature on this cycling card, so to speak. And it's has to do with the under 18s, the women, as well as the masters. And it's a pretty short course. And it seems as if, are they on their way back to Montego Bay?
They're still on their way out.
Still on their way out, okay.
They should be turning anywhere around here now. I think this may be actually the turnaround point coming up. And then they'll be taking a quick zip back into Montego Bay.
Still together. They are sticking together for the time being.
I'm not sure if they've reabsorbed those 4 riders that were off the front, or if they're still off the front and the chase is still on. We do have group compacto here though. Whether those 4 riders are still up front, we'd love to know. We'll find out soon enough. Juniors will want to ride this Donald. They will want to attack this field on the way back if those 4 juniors are not still out there, because some of these older guys in the Masters, they have a good sprint, so they don't want to bring some of these old guys to the line and be beaten by an old schooler.
There's some degree of pride at stake here, right?
So the youngsters will want to go out and just make sure there's nobody with them at the end, because some of these older guys, they still have a pretty mean head for sprinting, and cycling is not just legs, it's a lot of brain and positioning. So some of these old guys know how to handle themselves, old guys and girls, and you don't want to be bringing these guys to the line. So the juniors will probably try and shake this up a bit on the way back. It does appear that they've pulled those 4 riders back. I see the 2 McFarlane brothers back in the bunch there in the middle of the pack. And
they were always the danger. They were to have broken away from the rest of the pack.
Yes, I think the McFarlane boys and the Douglas, Domain Douglas, are probably the winner. I would imagine the winner may come from one of those 3. A little touch of wheels there.
Well, he's decided to take on the sidewalk.
Some good bike handling skills there to stay upright.
Well, I think he's actually pulled out.
I think that was a rider riding along on the sidewalk, and they just came up on him. Or that might have been somebody dislodged onto the sidewalk, because there was a touch of wheels there and a coming together of 2 riders, and one of them may have bounced onto the sidewalk to keep himself protected.
So we have approximately 9 kilometers to go in this race. We're about 25 minutes in now.
And here we have a move going again. And we're approaching the turnaround now, so these riders will be making the quick spin, and Well, I'll be shocked. This was a one-way race, Donald. I thought we were going to have, this is a 10-kilometer race, and I thought we'd have been turning around and heading back to Montego Bay. We got our facts a little mixed up there. We apologize for that. So we're going to hope we get a good replay and be able to break this back down for you.
So just here's a replay of the finish as they're heading back towards the line. And it was a bit of a sprint, wasn't it, in the end?
Yep, and I think what we're going to see here, that appears to be Demain Douglas, and we might have one of the McFarlane brothers in third, and it looks like there was somebody else in second place there, probably a master or a supermaster. We'll have to wait for clarification on that.
Well, that's the replay again.
Demain Douglas coming up on the left-hand side of our screen. And did he make it?
Yes.
Yes, he did.
He did. All right, we're going to take another quick break and we'll be back with more action from the Jamaica Cycling Classic.
I'm going to do Carlton Simmons.
It's healthy, it's meaningful, it gives us a chance to see Jamaica. There's actually an opportunity to ride parishes, and we want to encourage some of our touristic partners to build tours and train tour guides to do tours like these.
This is Dennis Chung. We are in Portland, just about 9.72 miles. We have another 60 miles to go to get to Ocharias. So we're just breaking into it, you know.
I'm Hotel World in Jamaica, cyclist, happy to participate in the Discover Jamaica by Bike Ride, where there's beautiful sea in the
Welcome to Smokies by the Sea. Today we're serving some coconut water, we're keeping it healthy.
Day 3, really a rough day for the riders. Lots of hills in Westmoreland and St. Elizabeth. As we're standing right now by Mr. Oral's Monsoon Pot on Spur Tree Hill. And this ride across Jamaica is helping us to rediscover real community opportunity that tourism brings to Jamaica.
It was a decent day, not the weather. And I think the ride took a toll on a few of the guys. But the main tour did well, which I'm happy. So we see our best we recover for tomorrow's ride.
Board, and also the cyclists who are here who are our champions this afternoon.
Welcome back to the Jamaica International Cycling Classic as we prepare for the elite men's race, the final event of this 3-day classic. And it's been an absolute privilege bringing this classic to you. Of course, we'd like to hear from the organizers. And first up, we'll be hearing from Rowena Williams, who is the race commissar. Let's say what the plans were. Let's hear from her as she speaks about the plans for this cycling classic.
Race commissioner here for the Jamaica Invitational Classics, and wonderful couple of days so far. How has it been from your perspective as an official?
Very interesting, very exciting. I love the atmosphere, I love what I'm seeing, the setup, the professionalism by all, and I think the race has a lot of potential as we move forward in the years to come.
Right, 2 stages from the elites so far. How was it?
It was great. I would have liked to see a lot more countries taking part, but again, it gives the Jamaicans, the competition that they're looking for. So I think is great. We have seen high-level racing. The Americans are, doing well to give the cyclists the competition that they require. So I think overall the race has been good, a good competition, clean competition, and we're looking forward to next year, where we would see more cyclists come across and participate and support the event as we go forward.
Right. What are some of the things that you as an official look out for during these kind of races?
Our main focus as commissaires, safety of the cyclists, safety of not just the cyclists, but everybody that participates in the event. So our main focus is making sure the police in place, making sure the ambulance is in place, making sure that, the race officials are aware of what they're required to do, look out for the safety of the cyclists on the roads, because we know the roads are not closed off. So that's mainly my and more than anything, that's making sure the rules are followed.
Right. And so far, today is the final day. An exciting finish with the American leading. What are you expecting?
Well, we'd see. Everybody has the points on the ground. Andy is leading in points, and it would be for him to come in the top 10 again. And once he comes in the top 10, we know that he will definitely be the overall winner. But it's interesting that a lot of teams, cyclists yesterday, would have gotten points that didn't have points from the first day. So, the competition is keen, and it makes well for a good race.
Right. And talking about that, there were some issues yesterday with some communication with some teams. Yeah. Can you just briefly explain what happened?
So, really and truly, the rules are for non-pro events. Radio communication among cyclists is not allowed. It's not accepted because it's an unfair advantage. It does not give fairness to all. So it's not allowed. So we would have done a relegation. It's really a disqualification, but I would have, given a relegation just to allow them to still start the race and, learn from their mistakes.
So we're just getting the official word, kind of as to what happened yesterday. What was your understanding?
What we heard is precisely what the race commissar just told us. One of the elite Jamaican squad were found to be using, the elite Jamaica squad were found to be using radio earpieces, and apparently they didn't know they were not allowed to use these, and did. And the rules are the rules, and they've been relegated. So the winner of yesterday's stage, Jerome Forrest, was now relegated from 1st to 11th place. And I think the other 2 Jamaican riders of that team who finished in the top 10 were also relegated. So what we have today is an outright lead of Andy Stannard and Scanaro. And so rules are rules, and they're here to be followed. Ignorance of the rule is no exception. So we'll see what happens today. We were looking forward to a clash between Jerome Forrest and Scanaro today, but we won't see it.
All right, let's now hear from Carlton Simmons, who's put his everything into this race, into this classic. He's, of course, the race director. Let's hear from him now.
Excellent event so far. 2 days of exciting racing, and it's the 3rd day. I mean, what has the competition been for you?
It has been going well. The level of racing, I think, is at a decent level. The guys are really playing out the team tactics on the road, based from what I'm seeing and with my understanding. So all in all, I think it's going well.
Right. In terms of the stages, though, take us through those stages.
Well, the first stage, we saw them going out to Falmouth from Witter Village and looping back at Rosal Great House and then come back to Witter Village. Yesterday, we saw them going to Discovery Bay and back. And we had 3 KOMs in the event itself, which brought a different level of racing within the race itself. So the competition, I mean, for me, is going well thus far.
Right. Day 3, you know, and we're gonna get our winner for today's day 3. What else are you expecting?
I'm looking for the same level of intensity. We'll be having 2 KOMs today, just the same. One at Spring Hill, one at the Clocken Duncans. And with the trajectory and how the wind is blowing, we should be having a fast race today.
And obviously, the racing here on SportsMax, what are the feedback that you have been getting?
I mean, it's excellent. I mean, I'm getting calls from the UK. I'm getting calls from Trinidad, St. Vincent. So, I mean, even New York. So the reach that SportsMax is giving to the event is far and wide. And I mean, it's something that, I mean, for a director of an event, it's excellent.
So there we are at the start of the race, and we're going to get the action underway in about 5 minutes or so. Kynan is still with me as we take a look at what's been happening over the last couple of days. We spoke about Andy Scarano and how much he's been a standout. Initially across the line second yesterday, but because of the disqualification, he was promoted to the number 1 spot. And with his promotion to the number 1 spot, of course, he's heavily favored to win this event. He just needs to complete this race. There are the point standings after day 2, or we should say this is just the point standings for the second stage, with Scarana picking up all 23 points. Brendan Cornett, his partner in crime out of Georgia, with 17 points. Of course, he finished second. Corey Morissette third with 12 points. You spoke about Kajor Chu earlier today, the youngster who did really well to finish 4th.
Yes, he's 14 years old and being trained by veteran Wayne Smith, and really put in a good performance yesterday. Unexpected to see a 14-year-old finishing with the elite crew. Mixed it up with them really well, and hopefully we see something good from him today, possibly on one of the KOMs, the King of the Mountains points.
And here's the leaderboard. Andy Scarano on 46 points. He's uncatchable, but as you said, the rules are that he would have to complete this is 3rd stage. Cornett is there on 22 points. That's his teammate out of Georgia, and Morissette on 20 points. So a battle for the lower placings to see if they can go higher up, but that's pretty close. But as far as Scarano is concerned, he just needs to complete the race.
Yeah, what we see today, Donald, is if we look at the best placed Jamaican is Corey Morissette in 3rd place with 20 points. The Jamaican team will probably readjust their tactics today and ride for Corey to win this race or get as high a finish as he can, and possibly overtake the 2nd place rider, Brendan Cornett, and become the silver medal of this meet. So we expect the Jamaican team to ride for Corey today and get him onto the podium on the 2nd step. 1st step is no longer available. That belongs to Scarano, provided he finishes today, and we assume he will, barring mechanical or injury. So that's a foregone conclusion. So we expect to see the Jamaican team riding for young Corey Morissette.
How inspiring would it be for Scarano to finish as a winner of this 3rd stage as well, and to just completely dominate the proceedings?
Well, he has the legs to do it, Donald. I'm sure that the rest of the riders in this race are going to throw everything at him and make sure that doesn't happen. But he clearly had the best legs in the race this weekend. He dominated the 706 project team, dominated the race yesterday, absolutely dominated it. They didn't let the Jamaican team express themselves at all. Every move that went, every attack that went, they closed it down immediately. And we saw Scarano take 2 of the 3 King of the Mountains points, so he was clearly the best climber in the race as well. So I don't think they had an answer for his power this weekend, and that's going to be something they need to look into in their training and development for the Pan Am Games coming up in Argentina next month.
We are going to hear from Andy Scarano in just a little while, as he's going to be speaking with our producer Lennox Aldred as he prepares to cycle out from the starting position with the rest of the riders. But yeah, really a wonderful story for him. The fact that he was able to make his mark. He's been to Jamaica on a couple of occasions, and he's been all across the Caribbean as well. He's taken part in the Tobago Classic. And I tell you what, I'm looking ahead to hearing what he has to say. "80 kilometers, about 50 miles roughly, and they'll be going to Duncan's, and of course they'll be returning to Witter Village. So not as long a day as yesterday, where they went all the way to Runaway Bay, or Discovery Bay, I should say, but still pretty much a decent journey, 80 kilometers.
Very nice distance today, and as we mentioned earlier, and you heard Carlton Simmons say it, the breeze is not as much of a factor as it was yesterday, so we're going to expect to see a very fast leg going towards Duncan's, and equally as fast, possibly faster, coming back with a slight tailwind. So we'll expect this race to be under 2 hours, hour 45 minutes on hour 50 minutes. It'll be a very fast and exciting one. And we can expect to see, being that there's no major climbs today, we should expect to see the Jamaican team throwing everything at the race to make sure that they get Corey Morissette in the best position to possibly win the sprint or get the highest result he can to challenge for that second step on the podium.
Well, there are 2 King of the Hill stages, so to speak, for this third stage?
2 King of the Mountains preems is what they call them, little races, little prizes within the race. The first one is the same as yesterday at Spring Hill, and the second one is up that highway ramp, into Duncan's up to the Duncan's clock. So it'll be excited. That'll break the race up a bit and add some excitement. And if we could expect to see Scarano express himself and take those as well. He's a type of rider, I really like his style. He's an aggressive rider. He could have sat back yesterday, being that he's in the lead, and just ridden conservatively. But we didn't see that. We saw him take the race to the Jamaicans, and we saw him actually contest the sprint and came second in that, and was eventually given the stage win with the relegation of Jerome Forrest. So he's not a rider that sits on his laurels and will just ride this race out for the win. We can possibly expect to see him go for the race again today. And what a race it would be if he was to win all 3 stages.
So the third stage is about to begin. The riders are at the very start. And there's the overall leader at the front in the red jersey, Andrew Scarano.
They're all waiting for the official send-off now, which should be coming. There we go. We're off.
So the final stage is on the way at these Jamaica Cycling Classic. Cyclists just leaving Witter Village in Montego Bay, and they'll be going all the way to Duncan's Trelawney and then make their way back to Witter Village in Mobay. And we've seen some exciting moments in this classic. It was a long stage yesterday, as well as on the opening day on Friday. And this route, I'm sure the cyclists will also embrace it. Bright sunshine, beautiful setting on the north coast, and the riders just biding their time in the early stages a course now that they will be really familiar with based on what has taken place with them for the last couple of days. And they'll know when to attack, they'll know when to pursue, they'll know when to try and set the pace as well. And we'll be seeing all sorts of expressions as well as ideals along the way.
And we've got an attack from, this is Russell Small on the front.
We've seen this before from Russell Small.
That's his modus operandi. He wants to get something out of this race. And he didn't manage to collect anything yesterday or the day before, so he's going to keep trying. That's one thing with him, he's always knocking, always trying. And we have St. Vincent looking to get a foothold in the results of this race too. So we can expect everyone who hasn't medaled or podiumed yet in this race so far, Donald, I expect that we're going to see them try and express themselves. Succeed or fail today, they're going to throw everything at it.
The Vincentians, 3 of them were in the top 10 yesterday. You're talking about Marlon Antrobus. His brother was also there, Andrill, also called Lucky Antrobus. And of course, Zephal Bailey was also there as well, finishing 10th on that second stage. So they were thereabout. We didn't get their presence in the first stage or on that first stage, but they really came out as a force on yesterday's second stage.
Correct. They were anonymous on day one, and I was wondering if they left their legs in St. Vincent. It was good to see them come out yesterday and start making some runnings. Maybe they're riding into their legs, and it's really refreshing to see them today. They've been on the attack 2 or 3 times already, right 2 minutes into the race. So we're looking to see, we would love to see keep this happen for the whole 50 miles to the whole 80K, Donald, attack start to finish. That will just make for a great race for us to watch, and you at home as well. And there's nothing to say for tomorrow, so we can expect today to be a real firecracker. I spoke to some of the riders overnight, Donald, and a few of them are telling me that they're feeling the 2 days racing in their legs already. I don't think we haven't had a 3-day stage race or a stage race of any kind here for quite a while, so this is a refreshing and a welcome race, but it's also a race to scrape off some of the rust on those legs.
I think it's the first time that we're giving Zephal Trevor Bailey some airtime, because he's the one that's now charged out in front for St. Vincent and the Grenadines. And it's good to see him, because he was considered to be one of the favorites from St. Vincent, but because they were so anonymous, it caught us a little bit off guard. But now he's trying to take charge of this race, and he's pulling them with him.
He's doing a good job, and here you see again the 706 project team out of Atlanta. This is John. He's not letting anything go. They're having a man. If there's anybody going up the road, they're going to have a rider in that. And they've marshaled this race impeccably since day one. And here they are already. He's across that group. So if this group is going to stay away, 706 Project is going to have a rider in it.
Well, he did dominate much of the second stage yesterday, did Butler, but then he faded out of the top 10, and Brendan Cornett would have climbed his way into the top 5 for the second stage. So very much a stage setter, so to speak.
Yes, what he was yesterday was the policeman, the watchman for the 706 project team. That any action happened, his job was to just shut that down and bring it back and make sure nothing was established for the Jamaican team. And he was basically the gate security, and he kept the gate closed. Exceptional job. And towards the end of the day, we'd have expected, working all day to bring gaps down and close the door, that he would be a little tired. So we did see him fade towards the end, but his job was well done. And it looks like because of that, he may be given the free license today to go out and have some fun and ride for himself.
Well, 4 of them seem to be having fun.
These are 4 good riders. We have Russell Small in there, that looks like Andrew Ramsey on the front, and John Butler as well. We're trying to figure out who that 4th rider is. We'll give you an update on that shortly. And we have another of the 706 riders coming across now. This is Brendan Cornett. So if this group gets together, we 5 strong riders. Let's see what happens. Early days yet though. But we can expect this race to be end-to-end attacking.
There's a slow ascent here that they're going to be embracing, and it's going to go for a little bit for the next few minutes or so.
And this will give them a chance to stretch their lead a little bit. You can see them talking to each other, trying to make a plan. Because I think the early parts of a move like this are the most crucial to build a gap. So you can see them talking to each other, looking around and say, come on guys, let's ride. Let's try open this gap up a bit. And the riders behind will be doing the same thing, but the opposite. Let's close this down immediately. Don't let any of those are 4 hot riders up the road. Don't let them stay out there.
The overall leader, Andres Carano, is in that chasing pack. He's wearing the red jersey, and doesn't seem to be bothering him at the moment, the fact that he's so far behind, because all he needs to do is complete the race, and he's the overall winner of this classic.
He's got what we call an armchair ride this morning, Donald. He's got a couch seat today. All he has to do is finish this race. He can stop and drink a soft drink if he chooses, but he won't. It's a great position to be able to have the race sewn up and just be able to ride for fun today. So you will probably see him, could possibly see him working for his teammates to try and get them a stage win today, one of them a stage win to share, to repay them for the work they've done for him this week. But it's a very exciting bit of action so far, and I'm really happy to see this non-stop attacking. And hopefully we'll see the race break apart and come together a few times. And one of these moves I expect will stick. I don't think we're going to see a bunch sprint again today like we did yesterday, because there's just too much attacking happening.
Well, Scarano decides that he's going to try and join those up top. There he is making the move on the outside in the red jersey. Probably just going to have a word with his teammate Butler here, but he's immediately gone up to 3rd spot.
I don't think this rider, Scarano, has it in him to ride easy. Though he has an armchair ride today, I don't think he's going to take it. I think he wants to come here and have fun. And he's an aggressive rider. I really like his style. There we have Sean Jeffrey, who was in the action on the first day.
So yes, Scarano has moved up to 3rd spot at the moment. So he didn't want to be too far behind the action.
And I think what we're seeing here, that group in the front of 10, 15 riders, I think that if the group behind doesn't do something about that immediately, these guys are gone, because these are all the heavy hitters in this race. And they've sat up and it's all together again. But we can expect it to go any moment again, because I don't think we're going to have a relaxing ride here today. I think we're going to have everybody throwing everything at this race.
So it's Kevin Price who is in front at the moment. And it is Butler who is in 2nd spot, and of course the overall leader, Andres Carano, in 3rd. The dynamic is interesting here. Although Scarano is way out in front on points, there is that close battle for 2nd spot, which would be between Brendan Cornett, Corey Morissette, and Barrington Bailey as well.
Yes, there's a distant possibility, or a possibility that if Barrington Bailey wins today, that he could end up on the 2nd step of the podium. But that's unlikely, because my experience with Barrington, super strong rider, but he's not the best of sprinters. For Barrington to win a race, he needs to his best chances are to ride off alone and win that race, and I don't see him getting that room today. So I think the best chance Jamaica has today is to work for Corey Morissette. He's got packs a powerful sprint on him today. I would almost consider it an error today if the Jamaican team were to pull for Jerome Forrest, who is their best sprinter. If they do that, they may well finish off the podium though, so that's the risk they have to take, whether they want the stage win or whether they want to have a rider on the podium. Difficult decision to make. They're going to have to decide how they play their tactics.
The other side of this drama, of course, is Scarano himself could help his teammate Cornett to secure second spot.
That's entirely possible as well, and I think they will be thinking about that as well. So we have a lot of action today and a lot of excitement, even though it would have been really exciting to see Jerome Forrest and Scorano battle it out today with a few points separating them. It's very exciting to what we're watching the race for the second and third place on the podium here.
All right, so 11 and a half minutes into this one, and we see that there is over 70 kilometers to go, so still some way away. And as they continue that slow ascent, you see the leader there, John Butler, just biding his time up this hill. We'll take a short break. We'll be back with more after this. Welcome back to the Jamaica International Cycling Classic here in Montego Bay. And in the early stages of this one, we see out of the United States, Georgia, Athens, Georgia, John Butler in the red boots leading all comers here. Of course, the overall leader in this classic is the man in the red jersey, and he's in the chasing pack, Andrew Scarano, and otherwise known as Andy. And he's going to be biding his time today because all he needs to do is just complete the course, and he will be the overall winner of the classic. It's been a fabulous run from him through the first couple of stages as well.
Donald,
and he has been brilliant.
I don't think he'll be biding his time from what we've seen from him, so I'm going to correct you there. I'd be surprised if he does.
Well, he has the option of biding his time.
He has the option, but I don't think he's going to take that option from what we've seen from him so far. Naughty little rider.
It's been really good to to see him and hear from him. And let's hear his thoughts, what's he been thinking heading into this third stage.
Andy, race leader here, heading into the final stage. What will be your approach?
Try to hide out for now. We'll see how it goes. But I know everybody's going to be looking at me, so just got to play it one mile at a time.
How has it been for the 2 days for you?
It's been good. It's treated me well. So got the leader's jersey. Hasn't been easy, and see what we can do to keep it for today.
You have the legs today to really go all the way.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see after that first climb.
Right. And how do you feel about this kind of event in Jamaica?
I love it. Yeah. So I'm going to come back here next year. It's been well supported. Everything's been on time. It's been great. So people are wonderful. So yeah, real good thing going on here.
I hope his wife is watching, Isabel. They got married late last year, and usually she travels around with him, but wasn't able to make the trip to Jamaica this time around. But yeah, I'm sure she's watching and pleased with what he has done in Jamaica so far, and they'll have even more things to celebrate when he returns home to Athens, Georgia.
And I'm seeing a pair of red boots back in the pack, so I think they've absorbed John Butler back into the field. And here we see Russell Small making his third move for the morning so far. And I think we're just going to see them stick pins in this cushion, Donald, until one of these moves work.
Yeah, until one of them work. You see Scaran in the red top there. He's not going to be too far behind. He said that let's see what happens after the first climb. We have completed that first climb. At least I think that's what he was talking about.
I think the first climb he's referring to is the King of the Mountains climb, the Spring Hill climb. They think this was the Ibero Star climb, so that climb is still to come. But I think he's just being modest. I think he's got more than enough in the tank to take this race to anybody who challenges.
Yeah, but still pretty close together, these riders.
It's going to be a great stage. Nobody wants to see anybody else win but themselves here or their team. And there's a lot of teams here that haven't gotten any recognition, the recognition they want in this race so far, and this is their last chance. So we can expect to see this race being hot from start to finish, Donald.
Well, everybody knows who the danger man is. That's critical. They know that they have to keep him busy or keep him near, whichever one you can do. And he's right smack in the middle there, Andrew Scarano.
And like yesterday, Donald, a lot of the smaller independent riders or the smaller teams in this race will be thinking about making alliances between themselves to chase down some of the bigger teams, the Jamaican squads and the Atlanta squad, the 706 Project squad, when they make their moves. So we can expect to see the multicolored jerseys of the independent teams working more closely together, because that's their only chance to really tackle these two teams. There's a lot of strength in those other teams.
And Russell Small, of course, is also an independent, despite the fact that he's part of a group, so to speak, but he's riding independently. Russell Small, he's on the outside in that, is that purple?
Yes, he's in the purple kit today.
And he has attacked this race on a couple of occasions, taken the lead on a couple of occasions, but now he's gone back in the pack. He's in third position or fourth position at the moment, probably a little bit behind.
Yes, and we have the pace being set here by Amit Roach, Israeli Jamaican, adopted Jamaican as his home for the last 3 or 4 years, and really started as a mountain biker in Israel. Used to race mountain bike and cross country over there, came to Jamaica and has picked up on the road and really become one of our stronger riders.
Goodness me, he has experienced some views in his life then, if you're coming from Israel, right? And then come to Jamaica to experience something like this as well. Just magnificent for him.
Very much so, very much so.
Israel, such a beautiful place. And yeah, he would have attacked a couple of mountains there, and just the view and the experience of that is what a lot of cyclists really do hope to experience.
Yes, and the food there is absolutely awesome.
Yeah?
And we're lucky to have a lot of Israeli, Syrian, Mediterranean, Lebanese food available to us in Jamaica, Kingston particularly.
Oh, we need to talk afterwards then.
Definitely.
But yeah, just really magnificent. So he would have seen, obviously it's a different type of view. We're talking about the coastline here of Jamaica, as of course this event exporting once again brand Jamaica to the entire world. And of course, all over the Western Hemisphere, we've seen these riders. And of course, as you mentioned before, from Israel using Jamaica as his home right now.
Seems to be a little truce between attacks here, but we'll see something going again at any minute. Just the riders looking over their shoulders, expecting the move to come from behind them at any minute.
Of course, we're talking about Amit Rauch from Israel. Actually a part of a team called OGs. And I'm just wondering how he has caught on so quickly as well, being a part of a team with that name.
I think they might have gotten that name from the fitness level of some of the other riders on that team. This race, once it gets into your legs, I think that's what you're going to be saying is, oh geez, what am I doing here?
Oh geez, that's a wonderful shot of Greenwood, and that's where the cyclists are approaching now. Just beautiful.
If there's a different way to interpret that oh geez, I'd like to hear it.
We haven't heard it as yet. No, you're right. Well, yeah, this is just beautiful. That first in Jamaica, broadcasting cycling of this nature on the North Coast. It's just absolutely fantastic to see the production team working overtime, or engineering team, of course, working overtime. Yeah, there have been a couple of bald spots, so to speak, in terms of the coverage, but that's usual for cycling events all over the world.
It happens. It's hard to keep a feed going for 200 kilometers, 100 kilometers, and have it absolutely flawless. So a fantastic job to the SportsMax team. And yes, Donald, this is a first, to my knowledge, fully a race covered in Jamaica from start to finish. We've never seen that before. Usually we get a minute or two on the sports highlights. But that's just not the flavor we want. We want to get the flavor from start to finish. And this is the first time we've had it, and how awesome it's been.
Passing one of the fishing villages, I should say, in Greenwood. As you take a look at the coastline as well, just beautiful. Of course, the fishermen would have started their work hours before, really, to try and get the catch of the day before coming in. But you see that the water is crystal clear, absolutely crystal clear.
The sea looks calm today. Those fishermen could be out there all day.
Yeah.
See some bathers there having an awesome Sunday morning. And here we are in studio. We should be down there the next year. Maybe we can get a finish line commentary post and be with the action, closer to the action. Don, I would love to talk to these riders after the race every afternoon.
So that's Amit Rauch.
That's Amit Rauch and what appears to be Alex Morgan with him.
Still trying to spot Corey Morissette.
We can be assured he's in there somewhere. They're not going to get rid of him so easy. And if any problems he's going to be well tucked into that field with his the rest of his teammates looking out for him. I think that might have been him we just passed.
Yeah, I think we just glimpsed him just now.
So they're going to be trying to keep him fresh and protected. We probably won't see much of him until the final few kilometers. So it's going to be interesting, as we spoke about briefly a while ago, Donald, whether the Jamaican team rides to give Nick Forrest another win in this and get the stage win, or whether they're going to try and ride for Corey and get Corey the stage win and or the second spot on the podium. If I were the Jamaican coach, I would be riding for Corey Morissette and trying to get him both the stage win and the second step on the podium. It is a gamble, of course, because Jerome Forrest is probably their best bet for winning the stage today. He's their strongest sprinter and they're probably a master tactician on the team.
So just to give you the overall standings again, Andy Scarano out in front And he is on 46 points. Brendan Cornett, his teammate, on 22 points. Corey Morissette, we mentioned before, he's in third spot on 20 points. Barrington Bailey and Jerome Forrest, they round out the top 5 cyclists. So yeah, as I mentioned before, Scarano just needs to finish, just needs to complete this race. As you can see, no one can overtake him. Just 23 points for each stage win. So all he needs to do is just to ride easy at best really. But again, his temperament suggests that he will probably just going to go all the way and see if he can finish in the top 3 again for this third stage.
Correct. And if we look at what with the screenshot we just saw, it is possible for Jerome Forrest on 12 points to win today and go up to 37 points. He will be depending on Brendan Cornett not collecting any points today, right, for his result to move him into second place. So I would still think that riding for Corey Morissette would be
the ideal thing to do.
That on paper, yes. The coach obviously knows whose legs are in what shape and who's looking better for today, so that may affect their decision too. So it'll be interesting to see the Jamaican team tactics and who they're riding around.
It was disappointing not to see Team Obey finish yesterday. They had the likes of Yanni Blake and Seda Slowly, who would have been unable to finish that course, and we did see the race being splintered, and we did see the debris, as you said, along the way, especially when they were trying to attack the mountains. But in the end, a group of them gathered and they raced towards the finish, almost catching us off guard based on the pace that we saw, that no one was able to really attack and take charge in the closing parts of that race, which surprised you because it played into Scarano's hands. He crossed the line in second spot, was upgraded to first, and then that was all she wrote for the Classic.
Yes, their pace was very high yesterday, so I was surprised to see so many riders coming in. I think we saw that all the attacks that the other riders made, the other teams, were covered so easily by the 706 Project team that it seemed to us that they just gave up and just rode in at a very strong pace, but we didn't see the attacks coming that we expected. And I think that's partly because they knew that they were so well marshaled by the 706 team.
So just a front 2 at the moment. And again, not drifting too far from the rest of the chasing pack. We expect that to close. And there's an ebb and flow to what we've seen here at this stage. Realize that the wind is not as strong as it was yesterday, so not going into that strong headwind.
A lot less breeze today. That looks like sliced bread out there. The rider in second place, number 20.
Just to clarify, that's Brandon Baker.
I stand corrected. That's Brandon Baker, aka sliced bread out there. And with him is Sean Jeffrey. That's not Sean Jeffrey. I think. No, that's not Sean Jeffrey.
So his name
that
is just
Darby Cobb.
Where's the number 26, I believe?
That's Darby Cobb. He rides.
Yep, Darby Cobb out of Atlanta, USA.
He rides with the Intense squad, who's the same squad as Sean Jeffrey.
So pretty close then.
Same team.
Same team. And there's the chasing pack. The leader is going out wide as well to try and collect the leaders in this stage so far.
There we see rider from the Team Fang, Damian Fang. Surprisingly, we see him riding in the back. Scarano has his hand up. It looks like he's had a mechanical. He may have a puncture of sorts, so they're going to have to work that out.
Oh, wow. Well, that's drama that he didn't need.
That's drama that he didn't need, but luckily he's in the position that whatever It doesn't seem to be a mechanical because he's back on his bike, but he definitely was looking for attention from his team car a while ago with the hand up, usually signaling a mechanical. It's too early for him to be asking for a drink.
How do you handle a situation like that, though? By the way, it's a 15-second lead at the moment, so it's a bit of a gap from these two. But what do you think? How do they handle that situation if it was a mechanical problem?
There are two ways they could handle it. Being that he's got the overall lead sewn up, his team car could come up and change that tire from him, give him a wheel change really quickly and get him back.
What do you call quickly?
He could have a wheel change within 15-20 seconds.
Oh.
And then his team would drop back and pace him back into the action. And usually when the race leader has a mechanical, it's cycling etiquette and ethics not to attack him when he's down. So you could normally see that the field slow down and wait for him to get back in, because everybody wants to beat the leader, but they don't want to beat him when he's had a problem.
A mechanical problem.
A mechanical problem. And the second way to do that is if a wheel change is not readily available, one of his teammates will get off of their bike and give him and let him ride their bike. And the teammate would then sort out Andy's bike and get back in the race. But they would make sure Andy has a bike to ride. If his bike gets broken, the teammate will give him their bike.
I know a lot of people would be superstitious, right? But aren't cyclists picky about the bikes that they would ride? Or in this situation, they're like, it really doesn't matter. We're just anything that moves works.
They are picky about their bike, and bikes are fitted to millimeter adjustments to make each rider comfortable and feel at home on his bike. But when you have a problem and there's a race lead or a race win on the line, you ride what you have to. You do what you have to get to the line.
So if you saw a turtle, he'd hop on it.
He would hop on it. We've seen riders puncture in some of the big races like the Tour de France on a mountain, and their team car is stuck in the convoy 30 cars back, and you see them running their bike up the hill just to keep that forward momentum going. They do what it takes. We've seen riders cross the line, crash close to the finish line, and walk their bikes across the line to win races or to maintain a position they've been in. So as long as you cross the line with your bicycle, it doesn't matter how. So they do what it takes to get to the line.
Sound like a cool running story.
It very much is.
Very much is. Always that drama. Really trying to ascertain as to why he would have held his hand up, whether it was probably just signaling a teammate. But because we haven't seen anything to indicate that he either received the attention that he needed, or if it was just a message that he was sending as opposed to a signal for help.
Yes, or it could have been something like a dropped chain or something that was giving him trouble, or the emergency seems to be averted.
So just beautiful scenes here. We're 33 minutes into this race. There are about 63 kilometers left in this one. And we expect the race to last for about, close to 90 minutes on a really good day.
I think 90 minutes might be a little fast. I think somewhere in the 1 hour 45 minutes, 1 hour 50 minutes. With a heavy breeze, which we don't have today, possibly a little under 2 hours. So I would guess we're looking at about 1 hour 45 minutes today.
Get the impression that they are going really quick compared to what we saw yesterday, where it was mostly pedestrian.
Yesterday was not pedestrian. The pace was just high all around, and everybody was riding a high pace, but it was a more controlled pace.
Controlled, okay.
Today is a lot more exciting with all of these attacks because everybody wants to win today. So I think today is probably shaping up to be the best day of racing, the best day of viewing racing that we've had so far. And I think yesterday was what we can say a little more sedate because the 706 Atlanta team controlled the race so well.
Right.
That the group knew that there was nobody going to get away from them, so I think they resigned a bit, although they kept the pace high. The average speed was very high yesterday. But there was nobody escaping yesterday, so it looked much more like what we're seeing here. And I think we're approaching the first climb of the day here. This might be coming into Spring Hill here for the first KOM. And we can expect to see attacking rides from Russell Small here. Maybe Amit Roach wants to go out and get himself a prize on this. And so said, so done.
Here's Russell Small in front.
Here's Russell Small on the front trying to lead them up this climb.
And it's a steady climb, and they're going to be pressing and they're going to be working, and it's going to be a little bit stretched now.
We can expect it to break up over the top of this hill, but it will come back together. And
we saw them swerving just now, and we can assure you that they weren't avoiding a pothole.
No, they're trying to get a view of the riders behind them and the damage they may or may not be doing. And I don't think Russell is getting the result he wants here. I think he was expecting to open some daylight between him and the rest of the field, and he hasn't.
He's been challenged, and it seems as if, yep, he's been overtaken now.
This looks like Tyrone Edwards, Snake Man, on the front here now. He's also riding pretty well at the moment.
Russell Small deciding to go outside and just observing proceedings, and he's thereabouts near the leader. We're going to take another quick break here, and when we return we'll have more action from the Jamaica International Cycling Classic. Welcome back to the Jamaica International Cycling Classic as we take a look on stage 3 of this event. And they haven't quite reached Spring Hill, but they did do, or they are doing a bit of an ascent here at Kynan.
I think they've now passed that, and they're somewhere between Falmouth and Spring Hill here. The road undulates up a bunch of rolling hills here. They should be at Spring Hill in about maybe 5 kilometers.
Yeah, so this has been the journey so far. Still closely knitted, still tightly bunched.
I think we've seen none of these big attacks succeed yet, and everybody is taking a role now, trying to recalibrate and think about what their next move is, because nothing so far has worked. The field has marshaled all the breakaways and all the escapees so far, but it won't stop. There's Barrington Bailey going through with John Butler on his wheel. We have Wayne Smith pulling up the rear, taking a drink.
Yeah, he was one of those attacking the mountains yesterday, and you were telling me that he's actually a coach of Kajur.
He coaches Kajur Shu, and a lot of these older riders are become mentors for younger riders coming up, which is really nice to see. And Kajur Shu is really came on very well yesterday. Finished 4th.
Yep. Finished 4th yesterday. Picked up 8 points.
And when we will point him out to you when we get an image of him. Really nice kid.
14 years old, you said?
14 years old.
Wow. So he finished 4th yesterday, picked up 8 points. Didn't complete the first day, which would be a little bit disappointing for him. But yeah, all this is just a learning experience for the youngster. Whereas bib number 34, Kajur Chu.
Yes, and I'm sorry we didn't get some of the other juniors in here. I think they might have had school or just couldn't get down here to get the time off to be here. But it would have really been exciting to see some of the other juniors in this race too. It would have been a very, very good experience for them to get racing against some international riders.
All right, so earlier we heard from Alan Dempsey. He spoke with our producer, Lennox Aldred. And Alan Dempsey is, of course, one of the organizers, the event manager, in fact. Let's hear from him.
Alan, you also participated in the Masters event. Tell us about the race first, actually.
The race was wonderful. It was a short course for the under-18s, the women's and the Masters. Barely 12 miles, which meant it was pure speed, hard fought, effectively a time trial. And I really enjoyed the caliber of the race between the 3 different categories. It was neck and neck all the way. I was happy with my own performance. I let out a bit too early in the beginning, to be quite honest, and the pack caught up. But then I maintained it, and I was glad to piggyback on the peloton with the youth, very strong youth team, and the next generation augurs well for the future of Jamaican racing. And then towards the end, everybody let loose. When both lanes of the road were closed, it was all pedal to the metal, and legs on fire, legs pumping like pistons. But it was really good. It was a great way to start the day, and now we're on to the elite.
Right, and obviously you wear 2 hats as a participant, and you also organized this event. Talk to us a little bit from that perspective.
Right. Well, you know, I got into it out of a sense of loyalty and a love of Jamaica. I came to Jamaica in January 2020, and I'm a triathlete by nature. And I joined the Simmons High Velocity Cycling Club to develop my own cycling within the triathlon space. And I felt when I heard Coach Carlton was organising this race was his brainchild, I felt I wanted to help out the team and also Jamaica cycling. And I'm a very organised person by nature, so I was glad to help in, give something back to my club, give something back to cycling. And I've truly loved Jamaican cycling and Jamaica. And more than that, what I've thoroughly enjoyed is I'm obviously hoping a Jamaican will win the event overall. But either way, Jamaica has won. And Jamaica has won on many fronts. Jamaica cycling, the bar has been set. The local talent have had their mettle tested with the foreign competitors. And I can assure you, the Jamaicans have made the foreigners sweat for their places. And also credit to the Jamaica Tourist Board, who had the foresight and vision to sponsor this event, who also want to develop sports tourism and also SportsMax, your own good selves. Sports tourism in Jamaica is at its nascent stage, and it's an opportunity waiting to be fully exploited. I myself, like a lot of Europeans, in the brutal winter months back home, we retreat down to the Canary Islands. But Jamaica has, as much as I love the Canary Islands, Jamaica has so much more to offer. You have this wonderful island, great natured people, mountains, good roads, believe it or not, they are good roads. And a sense of esprit de corps within the cycling community is, and I wish you all the best, Jamaica Cycling, SportsMax, and I can't wait to come back next year.
Alan Dempsey, the event manager, quite a character there. Yeah, of course we have good roads. He's been in Jamaica for a while, and he appreciates what he's seen, and he has really helped in putting on this wonderful event, this Jamaica International Cycling Classic, and really just absolutely wonderful to see the exposure that it is getting all over the world. And we have been getting comments in regards to how this has exported brand Jamaica and possibly to the next level. We speak about sports tourism all the time, and the impact of this can actually go a far way.
Oh, definitely. A lot of the European races promote their countries very well, and it enhances their tourism. And a lot of tourists travel with their bikes, Donald.
Yeah.
And we welcome all travelers coming to Jamaica with their bikes. They can hook up with one of the clubs here, one of the informal organizations here, and there are plenty of riding that we can connect them with.
So we see it's not quite splintered, but it is a little bit stretched at the moment, as the riders a little bit earlier had taken on, I believe, one of the hills on this third stage. And
they will be approaching the first King of the Mountains hill today, pretty shortly. A day like today, Donald, with the pace, with the constant attacks, this type of racing is really hard on the legs, taking the bicycle up to 40 miles an hour to chase down an attack, and then when the attack comes back, the pace slows down to about 25-30 miles an hour, and then it goes up to 45 miles an hour again. It really takes a toll on the legs, the constant attacking, and we're going to see that start to affect the race pretty soon. There we have Sliced Bread needs to get himself back into connection.
Well, I'm not sure if he's quite toast as yet because he's far behind, but let's see how he'll be able to recover.
I wouldn't expect him to be toast today. I'd expect we're going to see him at the pointy end of this race for sure. Really good rider.
Have you spotted Corey as yet?
I just saw him ride by number 22.
So he is there, just to confirm.
He is in there.
Of course, Corey Morissette. Overall, he is in what position? Just to confirm again, he is in third position on 20 points, just 2 behind the second place Brendan Cornett. But as I mentioned before, it's Karana who is in the red jersey, not that red jersey, but he's in the blood red jersey, is in first spot, the overall leader, and he just needs to complete this race in order to confirm winning this cycling classic. But yeah, this is another climb that they're working hard on.
This rider we're seeing in second position here is actually Kajor Shu, the 14-year-old.
Oh.
And he's up the road with Russell Small, 2 very, very good climbers. They'll be hoping to get themselves a little distance coming up to the Spring Hill climb and maybe get that King of the Mountains prize.
So I said before, Kajor Shu finished second yesterday, or fourth yesterday rather, on 8 points. Kajor Shu
Very, very good ride. Very good ride from the youngster. Surprising to see him finish that high up with such a mature, strong bunch. And they're at this is the foot of the Spring Hill climb now. So Kajor and Lizard, Russell Small, are up the road, and one of them should claim this prize. I don't think the field is going to. I don't think Scarano is going to really chase this down.
Well, Scarano is in the red, and he is beginning to pump harder as he tackles this mountain stage. Quite a few seconds behind the front two of Shu and Small. Small Shu.
It would be nice of him to let somebody have one of the KOM prizes, but it looks like he wants to just exert himself and conquer everything. I don't think he has enough time to pull Shu and Small back. But there's a possibility that he'll get across to them and they cause some damage going forward. The three of them could do a lot of damage to this field if they get over the mountain and organize themselves well.
Oh, he's caught up Small.
I spoke too soon. There he is, collecting Small with ease.
So where's Shu? Shu would be a little ahead, and he's being encouraged here. Yep. Oh, Shu is really kept his head down, braving the wind, and just pedaling strong.
And he's on the big ring pushing up this climb. That's a fantastic ride by this junior. And great to see him hold off Scarano and collect the KOM prize. And he's looking back now. Looks as though he just might. Come on, pedal your bike, son. There he goes.
There he goes. That's just wonderful. I can see the crowd cheering him on and getting some love and
wonderful ride by Kajor Shu. And it would be interesting to see if Scarano bridges up to him and they try and stay away. It would be a great experience for this youngster to ride away with the race leader and see how long they can stay out there.
It's quite some distance away from Scarano, who we assume still in second spot. But Shu, really an impressive ride.
Very
winning the first King of the Mountain stage.
Very strong ride.
And they're going to be cruising downhill, or he'll be cruising downhill just to get a little bit of a breather, and it is quite a gap. It is quite a gap. Whoa, it's quite a gap. And Scarano is still pushing.
And it's quite a gap back to the main field. So these three riders, I would think it would be smart of Kajor Shu to sit up a bit and wait for these two.
Yes.
And then the three of them group up and start to put the hammer down and see how much damage they can do if they can stay away from this field. This is a dream race for Andy Scarano. He's really had an awesome time here. His legs are really good, and he's done everything he wants to do in this race.
Right beside Small at the moment, Scarano, and they're trying to close the gap on Young Shu, the 14-year-old from Jamaica, who has been impressive on this third stage, winning the first King of the Mountain. And they have closed the gap dramatically now. And Scarano, of course, on the verge of winning this classic overall. And could have taken it easy, deciding not to take it easy.
And here we see Shu doing the right thing and sitting up and waiting for these two. He'll be jumping right on the back of Scarano's wheel here, and the three of them will have a quick discussion, and work out their riding tactics and start changing, rotating with each other and trying to hold off the field behind them.
The question is, can they hold off the field behind them? You see that Scarano is...
He's trying to wave the motorcycle, the camera vehicle out of the way to see what's behind him, to get a better view of what's behind him.
It's quite a gap, though.
Yep, I think he just wants to know, is it worth it continuing? Is the gap big enough for us to take a gamble and try and stay out in front of the field, or should we just sit up and wait for the next battle? And I think...
the field is coming.
Yes.
The cavalry is coming.
I think we'll probably see them sitting up here and being reabsorbed.
That was a nice little period there.
Really nice. It's really nice to see so much attacks in a race, and this is what I was expecting to see more yesterday. We're getting it today. A fantastic day of racing.
Next time, let's have 5 stages over 5 days.
Oh, I would love to see that.
It's fabulous stuff. We are approaching the hour mark here, and we have seen some fantastic riding from the cyclists on this third stage. I think they're just now getting into the hang of it in terms of the course and how they can tackle each stage.
I think the riders are just riding into their legs now, and I think they'll be ready for more racing tomorrow. And it would be nice to see this.
If there was tomorrow.
Yeah, I think it would be nice to see this race grow to a 7 or 8 day tour, a mini tour, as the years go by. We certainly have the roads for it, and we certainly have the interest for it, and would be a really good addition to the international calendar.
Oh, yeah.
To see a 1 week tour in Jamaica.
And what are some of the other venues you think we could utilize? Because we can actually go all across Jamaica. Would love to see what cycling is like on the Palisades Strip. Of course, there's National Hero Circle as well, which could be almost used as a sole sprint stage. So many places.
Yes, we could. This race could. It could have gone day 1, Montego Bay to Negril and back. Day 2,
Montego Bay to Negril, right?
Montego Bay to Negril and back would have given us a good 100 miles. We could also do day 2 could go Montego Bay to Ocho Rios, overnight in Ocho Rios, Ocho Rios, Port Antonio, Kingston, Mandeville, and then we end the race in Montego Bay or Negril. So we circle the whole island. That would be an awesome race calendar.
I'm tired just thinking about it.
There used to be a tour of Jamaica that did a route just like that, very similar. And I've ridden it a couple of times. Really awesome event. And you really get to see a lot of Jamaica and really have a good time. And the camaraderie with all the riders between after races, between the different locations, really good.
You had bigger dreams. I was thinking Palisades along the strip probably, 3-4 times. But probably going to the airport and making a turnaround and coming back to Harbour View. I mean, that's not bad. I mean, it's short, but it's not bad.
That's not bad, but how boring would that be for our viewers to watch riders going back and forth on one strip? Really awesome race, awesome terrain to race, though. But with so much of Jamaica to see, we'd like to send them through the rural areas and send them around the island.
All right, fine. Port Royal.
Okay.
We're good at that?
Done.
We can go to Port Royal and Harbour View and come back? That's fine?
And we probably run it on to Morant Bay and back in the same race.
I think you're trying to start a rebellion because only a national hero would think of going so far and back, and he's walking.
Well, that route there, Port Royal, airport to Port Royal and back, and then Morant Bay and back, that's about 65 miles.
Wow.
Similar distance to what we're racing here. So we're trying to give these guys their race quota of 50-60 miles a day. Giving them Port Royal is only 18 miles of that, so we have to add on something to wear them out a bit.
Wow. Well, that's for future discussions, but it is interesting to think about.
Nice to dream.
But for now, we'll accept this stage, the Jamaica International Cycling Classic here on the North Coast, beautiful North Coast. And really a pleasure just being able to broadcast this to you all over the world. We know that many of you are watching on YouTube. And of course, you can tell your friends to download the SportsMax app because we're on that as well, on SportsMax and SportsMax 2. So yeah, just wonderful stuff overall.
Next up for these riders will be Duncan's, and I think we're going to see the second KOM at the turnaround in Duncan's, or right before the turnaround in Duncan's. And interesting to see whether we'll see Kajor Shu try and do the double, or we'll see Scorano try and collect this one. It was clear that he wanted to collect the previous one. Shu just held him off.
Are you aware of scholarships for the cyclists or young cyclists who would want to take?
I don't think they exist, Donald, and it's a really good idea, and I think we have enough senior business people in the sport now with the resources to possibly start doing that. And it's really something that we've discussed a few times, and I think there's enough older riders that have done well for themselves over the years that we could hope to see some of them reinvesting in the sport and creating a scholarship.
Still the front three of Small, Shu, and Serrano. And Serrano is in second spot. The 14-year-old is the one who is in front at the moment.
It looks like they're climbing again too, so it looks like they're not giving this up. They want to make this move stick. So if they keep pedaling and sharing the load here, they have a good chance of staying away, because Scorano really has shown he has legs. Small has the legs of a time trialist, and Kajor Shu has the legs, hopefully, to stay with these guys and contribute and give them a rest on the front.
And just explain to our viewers in terms of how do you quantify rest when you're working as a group? The front person is always taking about 20 to 30% more breeze, more aerodynamic resistance than the rider behind him. It's kind of like Formula One race cars where you get that slingshot draft by riding behind a rider. He's breaking the wind for you and doing more work than you. That's why you see these guys switching the lead consistently, and the person at the back is getting the least wind resistance, so they trade places and share that load. And they trade places every few seconds, it seems.
Every 10 to 30 seconds they'll be trading places and going to the back, recovering for another minute while the other two take their pulls, and they rotate that way and try and hold off the bunch. And they're doing a pretty decent job of it so far, Donald.
And you can see that they're looking for...
This might be the turnaround here.
Point. Yeah. Once you see the cones in place, you know that, yep, there you go. They're going to be making the turnaround and head back to Montego Bay now. And this is where they go slightly downhill and a bit of a race is going on.
And see Scorano telling them to get on his wheel, because he's about to put the hammer down and try and open up some daylight between them and the group behind. He's saying, come on guys, I'm going to put the hammer down here, get on my wheel, let's work. I think they're heading into Duncan's now before they get back on the highway.
Right.
Because the second KOM is at the Duncan's clock. I think they're heading little past Silver Sands and into Duncan's at the clock, where they'll turn around and then get back on the highway.
So a nice little rural trek, so to speak, before they get back on the main road.
And I think with the alliance they have here, Donald, I think it would be wise for them not to make a decision as to who's going to win this King of the Mountains prize and not attack each other. I think it's important they stay together as a group and keep working to hold off the field behind them. So if I was Scorano, I'd say, look guys, let's keep the pace high. You two decide who's going to win the King of the Mountains. And I will just sit on and let's get back to work as soon as we establish that King of the Mountains prize and try and focus on the bigger project today, which is staying out front and trying to win this race. Make the winner come from one of the three of us.
Shu, of course, is a part of Team Mobe, but a number of his teammates not involved in the race. Of course, Russell Small is an independent, so he basically is just looking out for himself. And of course...
I wouldn't say that, Don.
But even at this stage, though, what is expected from him? I don't see him riding together with a particular group. And
like I said earlier, I spoke to him last night, and he's said that, you know, the two teams, the Jamaican teams and the 706 team,
right,
they're very strong. So he said he's been talking to some of the other riders, the Vincentian riders, the other riders, Amit Roch, Kajor, about coming together and working together to get a result against the bigger teams. So you'll see him working with Kajor Shu and working with Scorano and working with whoever he needs to make the alliances to get a result for one of them.
At the moment, they're really flying down the hillside.
And it might be possible that they finished the KOM points already and we might have missed it, so we'll get an update to you on that if we get the feedback or as soon as we can get you a result on it.
Well, they are, from our understanding, they're still on that rural back road, and they are going to be heading to the highway shortly, and they are way out in front. They are, I'm assuming that it's much more than a minute the top 3 riders from the rest of the field?
It looked up to be about 15-20 seconds before they came off the highway. Scarano went to the front and said, "Gentlemen, let's see how much damage we can do to these guys before we get back on the highway." So it'll be interesting to see if we can get a drone shot and see how that group is working. Have they reabsorbed Scarano and Small and Shu here, or are they still out front?
Well, by our understanding, they're still out front. There is a chasing pack. The rest of the riders, again, trying to catch up with the front 3. But it's going to clear up in just a little while, and you'll see that chasing pack, but they are well behind. We can tell you that they're actually well behind of the front 3, but you'll see the chasing pack now coming into view as they make their way back on the highway.
Okay, so we're itching now to get views of where the front 3 are, to give you an idea of what type of gap they have. But everyone in this big group, Donald, they're going to be working their socks off to make sure that Scarano doesn't dominate all 3 stages of this race.
You think they are probably just a little bit frightened with the fact that for a few moments they just couldn't see the top 3?
I think absolutely. That's also another golden rule of cycling, or golden goal of cycling. It's to get out of sight of the people chasing you, and you often try and get around the next corner before they come into sight.
Right.
Because if they don't see you, they don't know how far you are, and it works in your favor.
And this is what Scarano loves. He said it before, that he'd rather be the one setting the pace rather than the one in the chasing pack. He'd rather set the pace and be up in front. Rather be hunted, he says.
He was clear about that, and he's doing exactly that today. And I don't think the majority of the riders in this field just don't have the legs to respond to that.
Well, we're going to get a clearer picture in just a little while, but yeah, it's quite a gap being opened up. The top 3 of Small, Shu, and Scarano, as we're going to see them come into view shortly.
And here they are. We're waiting to get a rear view to see how big that gap is. We have no idea at the moment. When we were coming into Duncan's, it looked like about 15 seconds. We did see them put the hammer down to try and open that gap up. Let's see how successful they were and how much daylight they were able to put between them and the chasers.
So they're still working as a team. They are still working as a team of 3.
Small on the front now doing his duty. Soon he'll turn over to Shu. And we'd expect to see Scarano here doing the lion's share of the work and trying to bring this into the finish. He has the legs, and it shouldn't wear him out too much. And he'd want to make sure that he ensures the success of this move. So we'd expect to see him doing longer pulls than the rest.
A steady ascension is coming up as well.
There's a few long drags on this coming up as you come out of Duncan's, and yes, this is one of them.
So, Shu, it's Russell in the front. Shu is going to take over now. Scarano is going to follow young Shu.
Small goes to the back to take a breather before he gets back to work on the front. And they're really putting everything into this, Donald. They really want to stay away. We can see Shu there coming off and Scarano going through. You can see them looking back, so I would guess that the group is closing on them for them to be looking back so frequently. And it seems that it looks like Scarano has decided that he's going to make this himself and leave everybody behind. It seems like the pace has fallen for them, and he might be the best climber, so he's taken matters into his own hands. Small not having it, he's going to try get across, and he's doing everything he can to pull Shu with him. I think Scarano just said there, hey guys, we can offer a lot more than this. I'm going to raise the pace. If you guys want to come, but we're going to need to put in more effort than we have been to stay away from these guys. So if you can catch my wheel, then let's go.
Well, you can just imagine what they are all learning, especially the 14-year-old. I mean, what a thing to be a part of this classic, televised all over the world. and then being behind a really experienced American.
This is tremendous experience for him. Both of these riders, Russell Small and Scarano, are very experienced riders, and they'll be talking to this youngster as they go, encouraging him, telling him where to be, telling him how to handle himself in this group. If he gets tired, I'm sure that both of them will want to wait for him. I'm sure that both of these senior riders are getting a great kick and a great joy out of having this youngster with them, and they'll want to make sure they take him to the line. They'll want to make sure to look after him and get him to the line. They'll be just as proud to see him win as they would to see themselves win.
Mind you, he's done very well so far. Kajor Shu, his coach is in the chasing pack, well behind Wayne Smith.
And he also takes he also probably takes a lot of mentorship from Russell Small here as well.
This is a nice descent, by the way.
This is the fastest patch on the whole course. You can get up to 50-55 miles an hour on a bicycle going down this hill.
I need for you to explain something for me, and I'm sure probably some members of some of our viewers would ask this as well. But even when they're going downhill, they're still pushing, they're still pedaling. Is there no instance where you don't have to pedal and still maintain the speed?
There are some hills that are long enough that you just can't pedal anymore. Your legs are spinning. You're not creating any resistance on the gear anymore, so you just tuck down and you coast. I don't think they're there on. I don't think they got up to quite that speed. They're up at 50 miles an hour. You can still pump your bicycle, and they're trying to squeeze every watt of energy out of their pedals and out of their bikes to keep this group away.
Another steady ascension coming up as well now after that bit of a joyride downhill.
A bit of a rest.
Yes.
Really impressed with Kajor Shu to be holding on to this pace. And he's a junior. His legs aren't fully developed yet. We hope he has enough juice and enough gas in the tank to hold on to these guys all the way to the finish. I know they'll be doing everything they can to nurse him in and bring him in and give him the experience of breaking away from a pack of seasoned riders. It'll be a tremendous feather in his cap if he can get to the line, and they'll be trying to help him do that.
And of course, cyclists will keep up with the times and their personal bests as well, so that's also in the back of their minds too.
I was told by Russell Small last night that Kajor Shu and Andy Scarano set the two fastest times going over Spring Hill yesterday, according to satellite Strava segment measurements. Russell Small himself has the fastest time over that hill. I think it's 3 minutes 16 seconds, and they did 3 minutes 26 seconds. So this kid Shu is clearly climbing as a miniature beast to be climbing with Russell Small and Andy Scarano.
Yep, so in his mind he's hoping to do personal bests as well. And what an achievement for a 14-year-old. And
it would really be a great story if these three get to the line. Really great experience for him. See these guys putting in their work here, and hopefully we can get an angle here to see, oh, that's a lot of daylight.
That's daylight and that's nightlife.
These guys are not going to let that feel back on. This looks to be the winning move. I don't see, well, why I say that, Donald, is because the three of the other strongest riders in this race, the 706 team, are not going to be chasing their leader Scarano down the road. It's all up to the Jamaican team now to be chasing and bringing this back, and they're going to have to organize themselves and really put in a shift here to close a gap on. Scarano is also a fantastic time trialist, we learned, and Russell Small has won a time trial or two in his career. So to bring these two riders back who are seasoned at staying away from a group and riding against the clock, it's going to be project one for the Jamaican squad to close this down. And I don't see any of the independents going to the front and closing this down. They're going to say to the Jamaican riders, you have everything to lose here.
Well, we're going to take a quick break here, and when we return, we'll pick up where they are as they barrel towards the finishing line at Witter Village as coverage continues of the Jamaica Cycling Classic. So we're back to live action here at the Jamaica Cycling Classic, and it's still the front three, and it's all about the front three of Russell in third, Serrano in second spot. He's the overall leader out of the United States, and a 14-year-old boy by the name of Shu. And I tell you what, he's going to be going places, even with that name, Kajor Shu, 14 years old, out of Herbert Morrison High. We know that Herbert Morrison High has taken a lot of the sporting headlines in recent weeks. They have a sprinter by the name of DeAndre Daly, who has really been making the rounds on the track and field circuit, and was the recent Carifta Trials champion at the under-20 level. Now they have another young rising star out of Herbert Morrison doing cycling. He's presently in third spot. He's owning his own, and he has been doing magnificently well here at the Jamaica Cycling Classic. Finished second on the third stage. There he is in third. Finished second on the second stage on yesterday, or fourth on the second stage, picking up 8 points. And here it seems as if he will be finishing in the top 3. But really, it's just a wonderful story for the youngster.
Yes, and what we are hearing is that he's a really gifted student as well. He's his class monitor, and he's part of the music club and the acting club at Herbert Morrison. So a really well-rounded kid, and awesome to see him doing so well. And back to the racing, Donald. He, at his age, we haven't seen him ignore his turn on the front one time. Here he is going to the front again. So he's trading equal work with these heavy hitters, experienced riders, and doing a really fantastic job. And we just hope that he can stay with them, and they will do everything to keep him with them. So this is going to be a fantastic ride for him, and it would be a dream come true to see him take the sprint as well.
We're going to try and confirm how far ahead they are, because they are some way ahead, the front three from the chasing pack. And we're going to get that time confirmation in just a little while, but they're heading back to Witter Village, and they have a little over 25 kilometers to go.
From the image we saw from the camera a while back, Donald, it looked to be about a minute and a half at least to that corner. And we don't know how far behind the corner the chasing group was, so I would put this gap possibly between a minute and 2 minutes. And this, Donald, is a very embarrassing situation for the Jamaica team. They have 9 riders in the race, and they had an unfortunate result yesterday with the relegation. So they should be coming out today here to dominate this race and to make a point and to make some recovery from yesterday. And they've been left behind by 3 independent riders, and they don't have a rider in this bunch, and they'll be kicking themselves. Obviously tactically made some errors here in not being a part of this or being able to chase it down. The Jamaicans definitely have some egg on their face this morning.
And by Jamaicans, you mean the Jamaican team, because there are other Jamaicans riding outside of the team.
Thanks for the correction. Right. Yes, the 2 Jamaican teams, the under-23 team and the elite team. They've been really caught out here, and I would expect the whole 9 of them to be on the front of that chasing group, working effortlessly in a team time trial mode to bring this group back. And it may still be possible, but they need to be doing it very quickly, because time and distance is running out on them.
Small is in the lead, Shu in second spot, Serrano in third. And what a story it has been for Andy Serrano, who has come all the way from Athens, Georgia to be here. And he has really put a marker down and has conquered the cycling classic from start to finish, literally. Yes, he crossed the stage 2 in second spot, but he was relegated to first position. And now he's primed. There is a big possibility that he wins all 3 stages, which really would be an incredible story.
Donald, I'm going to be wishing against him on this stage, because I would really like to see the youngster take a stage, and I think it would be very magnanimous of Scorano to give a 14-year-old a stage. And sometimes cyclists gift each other presents. Scarano has the overall in this race. He's going to win overall. He may just be philanthropic today and say, let's let this youngster have the stage today. It's done quite often as a measure of thanks, because when he comes, he'll be making a lot of friends by doing such a gesture, and when he comes back to ride next year, those friendships will possibly help him when he's in trouble. He may not come with the same legs he has next year and may need to call in a favor from one of these two riders. So we'd hope to see him possibly let Kajor take this stage. I would love to see that. And Small has his Palomar of victories as well. So it would have been no great loss to these riders to see this youngster take such a big victory at such a young age. But that said, Donald, cyclists don't give stuff away easy, and if Kajor is going to want to win this, he's going to have to work hard.
He has already been working hard, to be fair, to keep up with the two.
Certainly is.
So we're about 20 minutes from the finish, and they are going at a fair clip.
They are clipping. These are in Russell Small and Andy Scarano. These are two excellent time trialists. They're used to riding alone against the clock, and riding with three of them in a group, they can really put down some pressure and put down some pace. And I find it extremely unlikely that the group behind will be catching up on them. And you can see the frequency with which these guys are looking over their shoulder has gone down significantly. They're barely looking behind them anymore. I think they know that the gap is huge, and that they're not really worried at the moment. They'll take a glance around every now and then to see if they're coming back. But I think
Scarano especially.
Yeah, I think they have a good probably half a mile between the chasers at the moment.
We can learn a lot from how they are riding in sequence, how they're riding as a team as well. And really, for those who don't grasp cycling to its fullest as yet, what can they be picking up? What can they be learning about these three at the moment?
You can look at how smoothly they're pedaling. Each rider will go to the front. He'll put in a turn of about 30 seconds and keep the pace high. He's looking behind to make sure that everybody is with him and cool. And they'll be talking to each other. Are you okay? How are you feeling? And if one of them is feeling, hey, I need a little break, they will leave him on the back a little longer, let him recover, because they don't want to lose any of their crew. 3 riders is much faster than 2, and 2 is much faster than 1, because of the ability to share the workload and to keep the speed high. So they're going to want to keep all 3 riders in this group. So if one of them starts to suffer a bit, they will have a discussion and they will nurse him, let him take more rest on the back. And I believe that they will be doing that with Shu before long, because I was noticing his head dropping a bit, as you can see it here again, his head dropping when he's on the front. It tells me clearly that this kid is starting to feel the pain, but he's not going to give up. So I think we should see these other 2 riders giving him a little more rest and just letting him sit on and get some recovery to make it to the finish. But I can see Shu looking a little tired by the dropping of his shoulders and his head there.
Well, it would be just a matter of sheer will for him to just continue and progress.
And we hope he's not too proud to tell the other 2, hey, I'm feeling pressure here, because they will do everything they can to keep him with them.
Yep, he's in 3rd at the moment, being shielded at the moment. Young Shu, the 14-year-old out of Herbert Morrison. And as they continue to take the turns, we know that they are less than 17 minutes away from the finish line if they continue at this pace. But it seems as if the overall winner will be Andrew Scarano, the man who attended the Savannah College of Art and Design and studied advertising and has a keen interest in photography. 34 years old, Andrew Scarano, and really it seems as if he is offered a helping hand along the way, and I'm sure he would have been impressed with what the Herbert Morrison student has had to offer in this front 3. And he would be appreciative of the course as well as, let's say, the journey along the way.
There's not one of us watching, including everyone at home, who's not impressed by Kajor Shu's ride today and yesterday. This is not a one-hit wonder. He put in the ride yesterday, and at 14 to recover overnight and to come back and do it again the next day. Really, really special talent here, and we hope he continues to develop. Views of the finish line there. Be interesting to get see those flags, get a close-up of those flags to see what kind of breeze we have, but it seems like the breeze has cut significantly since yesterday.
Yep.
And if they do have a breeze, it's a tailwind, so they'll be coming in hot.
Scarano, of course, did mention before his wife Isabel, and possibly she's watching the coverage and cheering him on. Of course, they got married in November of last year, but they have been together for over a decade, and they've been through it all for the past 10 years, and of course, recently they've been going through a bit of a struggle in regards to what her brother has been going through with brain cancer, and he has been trying to bring awareness not only to his situation but to those struggling with brain cancer. He developed a clothing line, Grey Matters, a wonderful design, and he has been selling those shirts, and I think they've almost raised over $1,000 as they want to help those who have been afflicted with brain cancer, and proceeds from the sales of the shirts that he has designed would go towards research to the cause, and it's really big of him to make his own personal situation, what has happened with his brother-in-law, and make it such a massive campaign, or try to make it a massive campaign.
It would be, and it's a really, really good cause, and it's a very heartfelt cause for them, being that it's in family. And we'd love to get you some information on the website or on how to buy one of these shirts and support the cause. We'll try and get that to you before the next break. But back to the action now, and we can see the pack. We just had a brief view there of the chasing pack. We can't really tell you the size of that gap yet, but we do feel, Donald and myself, that gap is significant, and that these guys are gone. You won't see them again.
Yeah, it seems so. You can actually support at bonfire.com/Grey Matters, GRAY Matters, bonfire.com/Grey Matters, and be a part of that campaign led by Scarana and his wife Isabel. And again, doing this for a wonderful cause for his brother-in-law, and I'm sure that he would dedicate this win to him, to his wife Isabel, and of course to his family and friends. And not every time he goes and does cycling overseas, it's televised and it's shown all over the world, and I suppose this would mean something really special to him.
And further than that, Donald, I'm pretty sure that not every race he rides in the U.S. is nationally televised.
Yep.
Very few are.
Yeah.
So we're seeing a first here for the Caribbean and for North America. Cycling is not a very televised sport this side of the world, and that's a shame, because it's a really exciting sport and loved by so many around the world. And we love our cycling in the Caribbean. We'd love to see more of it. Kajor Shu not ignoring his effort on the front. He's trying to show these guys that I'm here to work with you guys. I don't just want you to pull me to the finish line. I'm here to ride, and I'm here to help. The kid really has some good legs on him.
Yeah, magnificent stuff so far, really. It's Russell Small in front, Andrew Serrano in second spot, Kajor Shu in third. And this leading pack, this front three, way ahead of the rest. Talk about making their mark.
Interesting discussion. I spoke to Russell Small this morning, Donald, and I asked him how he felt. And he said to me this morning, you know, my legs aren't really feeling so good. I'm feeling the last 2 days in my legs. Well, it's not showing now, Russell. You seem to be doing A-okay, and I think we're definitely going to see you take a bronze medal here at the worst and possibly a gold. Fantastic ride. I used to ride on the same team as Russell. Lizard is his informal name. And fantastic rider, fantastic guy. And he does a lot of work with the deaf. He's married. His wife is an awesome lady. She's deaf, and he's learned sign language, and his entire family speaks sign language. And sometimes it's just really refreshing to see him and his family together.
That's just wonderful. I'm sure they would have been pleased with the fact that Coda won Best Picture at the Oscars as well.
You know, it's on my list of things to watch, and I'm really hoping it comes to the theatres here soon. Yes, I did think of Russell when I saw that. So really fantastic guy.
Just really wonderful, the stories of these three, and really couldn't get better for them and their families. But the story which will make headlines all across Jamaica is the 14-year-old who is in second spot at the moment, Kajor Shu, from Herbert Morrison. And really, Herbert Morrison again has been in the headlines for a number of reasons and for sporting achievements this year alone. And I tell you what, it's really just wonderful to see.
And going back to the King of the Mountains mid-race prizes, Donald, we see today how exciting those can be, because this move here started as a result of Shu and Lizard, Russell Small, going out for that mid-race prize, and they were chased down by Scarano, and it ended up being the three of these riders getting away from the rest of the field because of that King of the Mountains prize. They disrupt the order in races all the time, and as a racer, I used to hate to see them, because it meant that the race is going to get really hard 3 or 4 times before you get to the finish line for each of these prizes, and it broke up the field today.
We're hearing that the lead is just under 90 seconds.
I think that'll be enough for these guys to get to the finish. More than enough. I don't see them closing that gap in 15K. That's about 16 minutes of riding if the mileage clock is correct, and I don't see them closing a minute and a half in 15 minutes. Not against these three riders. If they do, they're going to have to put in a stellar ride, and I'd love to be able to get a camera back to the group and to see how they're going, because we don't know what they're looking like, if they're how well they're working together, but they need to be working together with everything they have. And we know that the Jamaican squad is going to be getting no help from any of the other riders, possibly the St. Vincent riders, but they're going to have to be doing this all on their own. All the chasing.
Serrano still in front, Shu in second spot, Small in third. And we have less than 15 kilometers to go.
Really impressive and brave ride by Andy Scarano. He had nothing to prove today. He's just got great legs, and he just wants to put them down on the road while he's got great legs. So really brave and fantastic riding by him. Aggressive ride, and a pleasure to watch.
And although we can be critical of the Jamaican riders in the chasing pack, or part of the under-23 teams, I mean, well, they're too far behind to learn anything what's going on now. But what are the lessons that they would have to take from this?
They're going to take a lot from this, Donald. I think they're going to know where their fitness level is at, that they need to bring that up a bit. They're going to know that they're going to learn that, first of all, the riders that came down, these three riders, have ridden together for the last 10 years. They know each other. They've been through hundreds of races together, and they know the tactics that work for them, and they came down and executed that well here. I think it's a great learning experience for our Jamaican riders to realize how important the tactical side of riding is, and I think this is a great lesson for them in terms of getting their tactics, modifying their tactics, and learning from others. they also get a great barometer of where their fitness is, and I believe that they'll be working on that. I spoke to the coach Adrian Clark a couple of days ago, and he says that his riders are probably at about 80% fitness now, and they have a good 20% to go to get to where they need to be, and they want to be improving on that over the next 3 weeks before they go to the Pan Am Games in Argentina.
So you just saw the speed limit at 80 kilometers per hour. That's for the cars, and they'll be going.
These riders are probably going 50k now.
50k.
Probably going easy 50, 51, 55k. Between that's in old money. That's about 30 miles an hour.
And they are pedaling strong.
They're not looking like they're slowing at all, so I don't see the group behind coming back on this group.
The performance has been impressive, really has been impressive by these three. Still don't know who will win it, still don't know who will come out on top, but we can gauge that it will be one of the three here.
And I think I think we're going to have Scarano has great motivation now to win all three stages. That's a great feather in his cap. And Russell Small hasn't gotten anything out of this race yet, so he's going to want to win today. So me speaking earlier about a stage being gifted to Kajor Shu, I think that's highly unlikely. If the youngster wins, he's going to have to probably ride himself into victory. I don't think he's going to get any gifts here today, although I think it would be magnanimous of these two to let a youngster have his first win, but I think he's going to have to earn it all by himself if he does.
Well, Andrew Scarano, what else can we say about him? And he has come all the way from Georgia to Jamaica to take on all comers, dominated stage one, and finished second in stage two, but actually coming across ahead. It was easy for him after that stage, and he embraced the red jersey. And on stage two, again, it was almost a little bit of a surprise the way how he held his own, especially on the mountains, and then was in the pack, wasn't overawed by the fact that he was leading, stayed there or thereabouts, and ended up winning the second stage as well.
Yes, and he did actually more than held his own on the mountains. He took 2 of the 3 King of the Mountains prizes yesterday, so he went out there and showed that I just didn't have a lucky race yesterday. I came here to win, and I'm going to win again today. So he went out and won 2 of the major prizes yesterday, and if they weren't careful yesterday, he'd have won the overall as well. Really good sprint by Jerome Forrest to take him on the line there. Unfortunate what happened to Forrest, but rules are rules. $13K to go, and that's about we should do that in about 12 minutes. So we should have a result and see how this plays out in 12 minutes, and then we can see what the lesser places are, see the field sprint for the lesser places.
All right, so we're going to be taking a quick break now, and when we return, it will be the conclusion of the Jamaica International Cycling Classic. Please stay with us. Back to live action here as the final stages of the Jamaica International Cycling Classic. It's still the top three. We mentioned before, it's led by the 14-year-old Kajor Shu out of Herbert Morrison, the overall leader in the red jersey. In second spot, that's Andrew Scarano. Russell Small is in third spot, another Jamaican rider. And they've been just changing places as they make their way the final few minutes of this race. Kynan.
Awesome action we've had so far, Donald. Awesome. And tactically now, Shu is a young rider, but what I'd like to see him doing now is spending more time on the back and less time on the front. Let these two more seasoned riders do the majority of the work and save himself for the sprint. I'm not sure what type of sprint he has, but I would be trying to keep those legs as fresh as possible if I was him now. These other two riders will have no problem pulling him to the line, and hopefully he can recover enough to be fresh enough to give them a good sprint on the line. We're not that far from the finish now. I think we're just passing the Hospi 10.
Yep.
So I think we're probably within under 5K to go here.
Yep, and in other words, under 5 minutes to go here. And Scarano, the overall leader in the red jersey at the back. In front of him is Shu, and of course Russell Small is now sharing the lead. And the interchanging has been going on for a while since they turned around at Duncan's, and since Duncan's they've really gone into another territory.
Yep, they've really put the hammer down and basically killed off the group behind. There's no chance of that group catching them now. Pretty soon as we start to get closer to the line, you will probably see this group these three riders slow down and start watching each other, playing a bit of cat and mouse before the sprint. None of them will want to be leading this sprint out. The ideal position to be will be in third wheel, so we're going to have some jockeying and some slowing down as they watch each other and try to get the best position coming into the sprint.
Yep.
And they have the luxury of time to do that because we imagine or we believe that the chasing group is still a good minute or 2 minutes behind them, which gives them the luxury of coming into the finish at whatever speed they want and having the best individual sprint. They're friends up until the last probably 2K, and then they're going to start thinking of how can I win this.
Yeah, that's a big question. How can they win it? And yep, just jockeying for places as they make their way to Witter Village in Montego Bay. It's where everything started. It's where everything will end. And they'll be coming into a sharp focus at the finishing line in just a couple of minutes here.
They've had almost no breeze, Donald, almost no breeze. It's been a great conditions for riding today.
So it is Small, then Shu, then Serrano.
We're just waiting to see them come around that corner now. This road is so straight and so long, sometimes it's difficult to tell how close to the finish you are, and that has confused me in years gone by in this race.
Yep.
They are close, but I think they're somewhere at the end of that stretch before the finish line. This whole road is very straight and very similar looking. I think they have about another 2K to go.
Kajor Shu in front.
Not easing up at all. This kid has ridden a fantastic race today. He's traded turns with these big guys. We haven't seen him trailing off the back. We haven't seen these two having to nurse him like I said they would if they needed to. They haven't needed to. He's ridden his bike with fantastic form today.
A youngster very much involved in music and acting, very much a part of the arts as well.
And I'd like to see him sit right where he is in third wheel until right before the line. I don't want to see this kid go to the front one more time before the finish line unless he's making his sprint. Sit there now, Kajor, and just rest and relax and try and recharge those legs for the sprint.
Russell now on the inside and now taking the lead.
And in a sprint between Russell and Scorano, I haven't seen Shu ride before, so I can't really say anything about his sprinting abilities. And it looks like between Russell and Scorano, I think they're both pretty equally matched as sprinters. I can't comment on Shu, but looks like he's got the legs to pull out a decent sprint, and you see Small there getting up, shaking those legs out, trying to see how they feel for a sprint. So we're getting close to the line now, and I don't like to see Kajor Shu on the front here. Get off of the front, Kajor. Let somebody else pull the front. You want the element of surprise coming from behind.
Well, Scorano is now taking over, and maybe he'll just go at the back for the final time, the 14-year-old, but let's see if he'll be able to maintain that with just a couple of kilometers to go here. Scorano.
Kajor's shaking his legs out now to see what they feel like. He's clearly thinking about winning this, Donald, which is awesome. He's not satisfied just to be in great company with these guys, but I don't want to see him go to the front again. This plays right into Scorano's hands, and Scorano may not come to the front again before the finish. I definitely do not want to see Kajor Shu take the front. The front is the worst place to be at this moment, and
that's where Russell Small is at the moment.
And I think we have exactly 1.5K to go here, or 2K. That gas station signified to me yesterday that we had 2K to go. So we're coming down to the pointy end of this race, the very end of this race, and let's see how it plays out, Donald. It's going to be exciting. Whichever one of these riders wins deserves it.
Yep. 3 riders, 3 fabulous stories, a couple of Jamaicans and an American. The American's place is all but secured in history as far as the Jamaica International Cycling Classic is concerned, having won stages 1 and 2.
You can see Kajor Shu looking behind them. The sprint is imminent now. You can see Scorano holding third wheel, seasoned veteran he is. He doesn't want to give up that coveted back spot. Drone shots there, we see that the chasing group is still nowhere in sight. I think these 3 riders have the road all to themselves to decide what type of sprint they want to have. And Russell Small has been on the front, relentlessly taking a pull. That doesn't all go well for his sprint, so maybe we get the impression he might be leading out Shu here and trying to secure a victory for Shu. Russell Small is working far too hard here, I think, to take this sprint for himself, and we're into the finishing straight now. I think that flag signified 500 meters to go, so we should see the sprint kicking off at any minute now.
So Small still in front, Shu in second spot, Serrano in third. Mentioned before that it's pretty much a done deal for Serrano as far as the 3 stages are concerned and the overall classic. You see the traffic almost down to a standstill behind because they are getting ready to go into the final stages of this one. And what a finish. What a finish for these 3 cyclists.
We've had 3 awesome days of racing. Really great race. Hats off to SportsMax, hats off to the organizing team, and hats off to the riders for giving us such a great show. There we see the cones, so we expect that the finish line will be coming up any moment now. There's another red flag signifying probably here we're into the finish straight now. There's a finish line coming at us. Let's see it looks like Scorano has let it out. It looks like
yes, and the finish line awaits them now. The sprint happening. Scarano comes across the line and wins it.
And Kajor Shu taking a very well-deserved second place. Russell Small Lizard coming in for a third. It was clear he tried to lead out Shu to give him his first victory. Very magnanimous of him. Great victory by Scarano there. Great ride from all three concerned. And Donald, let's turn our attention back to the field sprint. You can see them coming in now.
Yep, there's the cavalry trying to close the gap, and there's the battle for the remaining spots in the top 10. And you see a couple of Jamaicans in there as well.
That looks like Jerome Forrest and Corey Morissette picking up 4th and 5th.
But really, what a magnificent ride it has been. And really telling that he was able to win stage 1, stage 2, and stage 3. Andrew Scarano out of Georgia, the United States of America. And he has defeated all comers to come out on top and say a word for the 14-year-old out of Herbert Morrison, who finished second on this third stage. Kajor Shu, the class prefect, the boy who is in the music club as well as in the acting club. As we take a look at the replay here, and Scarano coming through to win in the end with Kajor Shu right behind him. Two magnificent stories.
Kajor Shu was had a fire on his back wheel right up onto the line. Scarano had to work for that.
Yep.
To take it from the 14-year-old. And there's Russell
Small with a salute.
Saluting the effort of the youngster. Fantastic 3 days of racing. I don't think Scarano could have scripted a weekend like this if he had all the creative license. I don't think he would have scripted this weekend to work out as perfectly as it has for him. Job well done. Job well done for them.
Magnificent. Picking up 69 points over 3 days. 23 points from the first stage, 23 points on the second, and of course 23 points on the third stage. Andrew Scarano, you talk about the ultimate champion. He definitely is the ultimate champion here.
He is, Donald, and I think he's going to be thanking his team very much for this victory as well, because they did an awesomely incredible job of closing down every attack that tried to go away, not just today but on all 3 days. His team worked fantastically, shutting down moves and making sure nobody else could express themselves the way they wanted to. So it was a team effort. Even though one man takes all the credit, his team did a fantastic job, and they got their results.
I'm sure the win for Isabel as well as for her brother struggling with brain cancer, and so much to write for. The fact that he was able to come out on top is just a telling story. And as far as Jamaica is concerned, you have a bright star. I mean, we're talking about youngsters just making their mark in sport. Herbert Morrison really riding such a big wave right now. They have the likes of DeAndre Daly as far as track and field is concerned, and I'm sure everybody's looking ahead to what he will do at the Carifta Games as well as before at Champs. But they have another Herbert Morrison star in Kajor Shu, just 14 years old, and really having finished 4th on the second day, on the second stage. The fact that he was able to come here on the third day and finish second, it's a memory, and it's something that he will never ever forget.
If we look at the standings as well yesterday, that might possibly put this youngster into third place. That would have been 8 points from yesterday and 17 today. That would be 31 points. That might put him into second place overall. So it'd be interesting to see how the judges tally all of these points. But this young man may not just be standing on the second step of the podium for today's stage. He may be standing on the second step of the podium overall for this tour. But we
take a look at Scarano and his victory on the first stage, and just punching the air, and he's like, "Yep, It's fine. I got this under control. Second stage, of course, he embraced the red jersey, and he knew that he would have been a marked man, and indeed he was, but he really attacked the course.
He didn't care that he was a marked man.
Didn't care at all, and did really well on the second stage, and of course on this third stage. Just really dominating. When they turned around from Duncan, you realize that it was there for the taking for him. He led the charge of 3, one of whom a 14-year-old out of Montego Bay, and cruised to the end.
Correct, Donald. As you saw that turnaround happen, you saw Scoranos have dialogue with those two guys and said, "Hey guys, let's not worry about the King of the Mountains. Let's not worry about anything else. Let's have a chat. Let's work together and let's see what we can do." And this is what they did.
We're going to hear from Andres Carano in just a little while. He's there with our producer, Lennox Aldred, and we're going to hear from him in just a little while. We're just trying to set up that interview. But yeah, just absolutely magnificent. Really magnificent there. His performance, and on this third stage, winning comfortably there. And the winner of stage 1, the winner of stage 2, and the winner of stage 3.
If we have a minute before the interview, Donald, I think I'm going to take this opportunity to mention there Clay Parks, the sixth member of their team from the car. He's been their support vehicle, and he's a good friend of mine. And he does a lot of work with Jamaican cyclists, lives in Atlanta, and he's housed 3 or 4 top Jamaican riders over the years as they went away to learn their trade in the US. And he has does a lot of work with us here in Jamaica in sending down gears, parts, bicycles, clothing, helmets, shoes. So he does a lot of fantastic work in keeping our junior program not funded, but supplied with kits, bicycles, parts, as much as he can raise up there. He sends them down, and between he and I and some of the other local guys, we distribute them. So thanks very much to Clay, and he's the 6th unseen member of this 706 Atlanta team.
Andres Carano, 34 years of age, and really he has set a mark here at this Jamaica International Cycling Classic. Just absolutely wonderful that he was able to come to Jamaica. He says he loves Jamaica. He's been around the Caribbean as well. He's taken part in the Tobago Classic as well, Andres Carano, and it really has just been wonderful to just have him in Jamaica, for him to experience the island as well as on a winning note as well. And I'm sure when he goes back, he'll be telling his friends and of course his family, his immediate family, about his experiences here, and the fact that it was televised for all the world to see makes it a little bit better as well. Just absolutely magnificent from him, and he certainly will remember. Let's now hear from the winner, Andres Carano.
Victory again today. I mean, you must be pleased. A hat trick, so to speak. How was it for you?
That's right, a hat trick. Pleased, yeah. Tired. Today was definitely the hardest day. It wasn't easy at all. Starting an hour later, made it for a hot start. Was feeling the last 2 days, so it took a while for me to feel good and warm up. So I didn't put myself in the front at all. Following riders, probably didn't feel good till almost an hour in. At the base of the first KO incline. 2 guys were up the road at that point, which was kind of best case scenario for myself and my team. Kind of left the pressure off of us, and I saw an opportunity and I went, had a gap on the field, and bridged up to the 2 guys, and then it was just us 3 till the finish.
Right. Which of the 3 stages pleased you the most?
Probably today. I like coming off the highway and going through the little town up to the clock tower. That was pretty cool. I like the small, twisty, windy roads, and of course, today capped off our hat trick for the team. And it wasn't just me. I couldn't have done this without my teammates, Tyler and Peter and John and Brendan. So it's definitely a team effort for sure.
Talk about the young 14-year-old that was with you all the way.
Well, I didn't realize his age until we were at the end. He's good. He's got a lot of potential behind him. Smart rider, very strong. I mean, he was gone on the first KOM. There's no way I could have caught him. And yeah, he worked extremely well all the way to the finish.
Right. And obviously coming and winning this inaugural event, you must be pleased.
Extremely pleased. And it's my, I think, first big international tour win. Won a couple stages in other countries, but to pull it off here for the inaugural event was awesome. So love Jamaica, love the people here. So always seeing a smile, yeah, puts us in a good mood.
All right, congratulations.
Thank you again. I appreciate it.
He had first place finishes at the 2013 French Broad Cycling Classic. He also won the 2015 Burlington Road Race and was the overall winner of the 2015 Southeast Regional Series. None as big as this here, the Jamaica International Cycling Classic. Just absolutely wonderful from Andrew Scarano, and he will remember this for a very long time.
Oh, he's not going to forget this. This has been a dream weekend for him and for his team. They've all done a fantastic job. And the competition this week was, this last 3 days, has been really good. Lot of good racing here, and hopefully next year we'll see this field grow and get a lot more international riders coming to this race and giving us a lot more to show you.
What are your overall thoughts on this cycling classic, and how pleased are you with how it turned out?
I'm really pleased, Donald, and from many levels. It's one of the best organized races I've seen in terms of running on time and running according to plan, and in terms of the quality of the riders, a very good quality field. I think another thing we learned is that the Jamaican outfit needs to work a bit more on their fitness coming into over the next 3 weeks. So this is a good test of good measurement for them. And they also need to develop the tactical side of their game a bit more. I think they made a few tactical miscalculations this weekend in letting Scarano have his way too much. I'm pretty sure they could have done some things better to mark him a little better and to put some, especially in this move today, they should have had a rider in that group. But I think this is a good learning experience for them, and I think they'll strengthen and they know what they need to do now.
And as far as Brand Jamaica is concerned, and cycling and sports tourism and everything going hand in hand, this is a major step. Major step.
I think Brand Jamaica is always going to be Brand Jamaica, fantastic and already developed. But in terms of Jamaican cycling, I think the world now sees that the type of roads we have here, the type of cycling we have here, and the type of people we have here. And I hope to see a lot more people bringing their bikes to Jamaica and coming here to not just to ride but to race. Fantastic place for cycling, and I think we got to experience that and to show that to the world today.
We're going to leave you with the sights and sounds of the day, starting with what took place early in the day from the under-18 women's and masters, where they took a little journey that lasted about half an hour before they came across the finishing line. And of course, at the very end, when the elite men took the course and went through the town of Dunkans and came back to Montego Bay, it was a surreal experience, just bringing all this to you. Absolutely magnificent to broadcast Jamaica to the world once again. We had riders from all over the Western Hemisphere taking part in this event over 3 days, and as we brought you the stages, we brought you the action, we brought you the disappointments, and of course in the end we brought you the triumphs of one man in particular, Andrew Scarano. You see him there in the red, was the overall leader heading into the third day, and actually did magnificently well on this third stage. And of course, don't forget the story of the 14-year-old Kajor Shu out of Herbert Morrison. We reckon that he's going to be a big name. He finished fourth on the second stage yesterday, and he came today and actually finished second behind Serrano, and surely he's a name that we will not forget for quite a while. Kajor Shu, 14 years old, out of Herbert Morrison. It's been absolutely magnificent bringing this to you, the Jamaica International Cycling Classic. On behalf of the hard-working production team, I'm Donald Oliver. It's goodbye from Montego Bay.